Please check out FinalFantasy.com today. There's a lot of Final Fantasy news stuff, everything that you want to talk about, and maybe some tits too. Check it out today.
Get hit with the motherfucking.
Hey Kubos, what's up? Finally here today, Final Fantasy 7, some remake stuff that we're going to talk about today. And today, as you see for the title, basically what we're going to talk about is why does Final Fantasy 7 matter? Why does the Final Fantasy 7 remake matter? Now, I go throughout articles online and everything about Final Fantasy basically every single day. That's where I get most of my news and everything anyway. But today, what we're really going to talk about is why does Final Fantasy 7 matter this much? Now, I read this article, a long article about Final Fantasy 7. I'll leave it under the video so you Kubos can go check it out too. But basically, this guy really likes Final Fantasy 7. Not the only guy, of course, because there's millions of people who actually love Final Fantasy 7. But this guy is explaining why does Final Fantasy 7 matter? Because Final Fantasy, everybody is so stoked at Final Fantasy 7, that remake. Every year E3 happen, they just want to see a Final Fantasy 7 something, of course it was awesome to get, Final Fantasy 15 stuff and everything, but for these fans, they wanted Final Fantasy 7. Like, they wanted the remake, because ever since Square Enix did that kind of teaser when the PS3 was coming out and they showed Final Fantasy 7 in a remake version, a lot of people thought, alright, we're getting this remake and everything, and it never happened. Just like what they did with Final Fantasy 13 Versus, they showed it and everything, nothing was going on for years, and then they showed it again, changed it to Final Fantasy 15. That's basically what they did. But why does Final Fantasy 7 matter so much? Why does it matter so much to everybody? So I'm gonna leave this article in the video below so you guys can check out his opinion. He has some good points and everything about it, but I'm gonna give my opinion on it and everything. So honestly, why does Final Fantasy 7 matter? Like, when Final Fantasy X HD, the remaster, came out, a lot of people were stoked for that too. There were a lot of people pretty stoked for that. I was really stoked because I'm a huge Final Fantasy X fan. Favorite game, favorite Final Fantasy game at all time, in my opinion. But anyway, a lot of people were stoked for this. But for Final Fantasy 7 Remake, why is it so huge and why is everybody so happy? Why did this game bring Square Enix market so up? Now, everybody knows that Final Fantasy 7 is the most sold Final Fantasy game out of all time. It's facts. It's the most sold Final Fantasy game out of all time. Has a huge reputation, huge fan base. If you're a Final Fantasy 7 fan, you're just stoked for this remake to come out. And if it's to this point of how huge Final Fantasy 7 is, that if you hear Final Fantasy, a lot of people are gonna hear Final Fantasy 7 in their mind. Like, that's how huge it is. They're not gonna notice all the other Final Fantasy games, which is okay, whatever, right? Whatever. But they're gonna hear Final Fantasy 7. This is why Final Fantasy 7 matters, okay? So, in my opinion, I can't wait for Final Fantasy 7 remake to come out. It's going to be freaking awesome. I'm not a fanboy. I don't think Final Fantasy 7 is the best game in the world or whatever. I really do like it. It's definitely up there in my top 5 of Final Fantasy games, but it's not my favorite game at all, to be honest. But I think Square Enix did a really good pick of doing the Final Fantasy 7 remake, because there's many reasons. One reason is that people have always been bitching at Square Enix. They've always been bitching at Square Enix. Square Enix kind of asked for this. They showed this freaking trailer of Final Fantasy 7 when the PS3 was first announced and everything, and a lot of people thought they were getting it then, and then they didn't get it. So a lot of people throughout all those 10 freaking years, or however long it was, that's where it actually really started too, was that remake. Like, I want the remake. That's where it all started, when they first showed that PS3 version of it. So one reason why it's so freaking good is that Square Enix isn't getting more bitching, and other people are not getting, they're not bitching anymore. They're not, they got what they wanted. Nobody's bitching anymore. And end of story. We're getting it when we're getting it, but we are getting it anyway. So that's one reason. Another reason is that Square Enix recently, it's sad to say, but they haven't been you know, it's a business, it's a gaming company, and they haven't been doing great with their money. Besides Final Fantasy 14 that has 5 million subscribers, they've been getting all their money from that. But from everything else, Zada, nothing at all. They've been doing pretty bad. Ever since this Final Fantasy 7 remake has been announced, suddenly they just went up. This freaking 1 minute and 40 freaking second video that they made for Final Fantasy 7 just upped them like right away, which makes sense because hey, you know, it's the most popular Final Fantasy game, most sold Final Fantasy game, and you know, I want to for me personally, I've been playing Final Fantasy for years and years, and I don't want to see Square Enix done. Like, I don't want to see Square Enix say, oh, this is our last Final Fantasy game. I want to see them keep going, you know. Because Final Fantasy, every single game brings a new vibe, new game feeling, it's not always the same. Like, even if it's a sequel to a game, it's not always the same game. It's always something different, and I want Square to keep going. Like, honestly, the last 5 years have kind of been iffy through Final Fantasy 13 to Final Fantasy Lightning Returns. That was kind of iffy. I still kind of enjoyed it, but throughout the whole past of series, no, it doesn't compare. Like, back in 2001 when 10 and 10-2, that was freaking awesome. In 1997 through 2000, that was amazing for Final Fantasy back then. From Final Fantasy 7 to Final Fantasy 9, oh God, dude, God. But why does this matter? Because they're going to make money from this. Like, when this remake comes out, they're going to make a ton of money from it. A lot of money. I wouldn't be surprised if it surpassed the sales of Final Fantasy 7, the originally Final Fantasy 7. Would not be surprised about that at all. And I want to see Square Enix keep going, because they're a really good damn company. They make Kingdom Hearts, they make Final Fantasy, and honestly, lately, they've been having money issues and everything. You know, when they first started off, they had bankrupt issues. Then they made Final Fantasy, because it was going to be their last Final Fantasy game and everything, or their last game. And then they went wild. I don't want to see that happen to Square, because Square has bring so many freaking great games, and especially in my life too, because freaking I love Final Fantasy, and I just want to see them keep going. I want to see them keep going. I want to see a 16. I want to see a 17. I want people to get more into Final Fantasy, because Final Fantasy arguably is probably the biggest RPG series of gaming history. You know, if you hear Final Fantasy, you're gonna hear your brain's gonna be like RPG, like right away, right away, RPG. No arguing or anything. Final Fantasy is the biggest RPG out there in gaming history. So that's another reason why Final Fantasy 7 is huge, because they're gonna make a lot of money from it, and I want to see Square keep going, you know. For another reason is Final Fantasy 7 is not a bad game. You know, they remastered Final Fantasy 10 2 times or 3 times, because PSP, PS Vita, PS3, and then PS4. So they did it 4 times basically, or 3 times, sorry, 3 times, and that was a freaking great game. Like, I freaking love Final Fantasy 10. Now they're doing another game. You know, Final Fantasy 7 is a good game. You know, it's a really damn good game. So why not remake it? And if they actually make it really graphic like Final Fantasy 15, that would be freaking awesome. Like, that would be a good freaking game. Also, there's so many memories from Final Fantasy 7. Like, you always have so many memories from any Final Fantasy game, because what Square Enix does with Final Fantasy games, they make the story so good. They just know how to make a story. They know how to make music to background that story. And you know, a lot of people have lots of different opinions on the gameplay and everything, and the battle system and whatnot. But the stories throughout Final Fantasy and the music throughout Final Fantasy is just utter brilliant. And just like, you know, going back from Final Fantasy 7 and looking at those blocks, and then going to, you know, like a Final Fantasy 7 that looks like a freaking Final Fantasy 15 game, how can you complain about that? You're going to have so many good memories. You're going to laugh about it. And, you know, to the people who are like kind of, you know, mad that Final Fantasy 7 came out and everything, and that, you know, they feel like that Final Fantasy VII is going to push back products of or games of like Final Fantasy 15 and Kingdom Hearts 3. They're not going to push it back. They're going to release Final Fantasy 15 anytime soon now. That's freaking bad, way past due date. Kingdom Hearts 3, that's probably going to cut, because they're remaking the whole damn game. This is a new game, basically. You know, it's not Final Fantasy X where they can, you know, they announce it and bam, a year and a half ago, out. You know, this is going to take a good while to make. So it's not going to delay anything. And I just, Final Fantasy, you know, you're just going to have so many memories. If they make a Final Fantasy 15 graphics and everything, that's another reason why this game is gonna be freaking awesome, because I'm gonna pick it up and I'm gonna freaking enjoy it. And they're adding a new story and everything to it, so it makes it, the game makes it more, it's gonna be different, new flavor. It's not gonna be the same original Final Fantasy game. It's a new Final Fantasy game basically, and it's just gonna be good for the community, because honestly our community right now has been really dead for the past years, really, compared to what happened. Compared to, like, you know, from 2001 and from 2001 to 2009, it's been really active. But from now, from 2010 to now, it's been, you know, it's been kind of active, but it's been kind of dead at the same time too. So that's why Final Fantasy VII really matters too, because sadly, to admit it or whatever, this game brings a lot of attention to Final Fantasy community. Like, it brings a lot of attention to Final Fantasy community. It's the only game that can bring a lot of attention, like a ton. I mean millions. I'm talking about millions. It's the only game that can bring millions of people attention to the Final Fantasy community, and that's really what we need. You know, honestly, yeah. There's hate. There's fanboys and everything. That's everywhere, though. If you don't see any hate or fanboys, you're basically in paradise then. You know, it's everywhere. There's no, you know, it's just normal. It's normal. People are gonna bitch. People are gonna have their own opinions. People are gonna fanboy the one game. Sadly, Final Fantasy VII is probably the biggest freaking fanboy game out there, but still, that's normal. And honestly, this game is gonna bring Square Enix and Final Fantasy community alive. Just like Final Fantasy 15, when Final Fantasy 15 comes out, we'll see how that goes, because nobody knows, you know, you play the demos and everything, but we don't know much about the game itself and fully, of course. So we gotta wait until that happens to see if it, you know, rises the Final Fantasy community a little bit and brings it back to life. But guaranteed, dude, guaranteed, Final Fantasy 7 will bring back this community alive. And that's the final point I'm getting to this video, is that the only game that can, like, sadly, the only game, you know, that can bring back millions of people to Final Fantasy is Final Fantasy 7, because just there's so many examples. Like that trailer that released it at E3 almost has 12 million views or more probably now, and that's just the biggest example ever. That trailer got released last month and now has 12 million views. How crazy is that? How crazy is that? So really, honestly, to the people who are mad about Final Fantasy 7 coming out, yeah, you know, it's the same old game, whatever you want to say about it. But honestly, if you're looking at a business view, if you're looking at it as a business view and growing the community view, this is the perfect thing for Final Fantasy right now, is growing that. Because like I said, I don't want to see Square Enix done. They've been, you know, going through tough issues for the last years, and honestly, this game will help them a lot. And hell, you know, it's not just about helping them and everything. They're making a great game to give to us, and millions of people want this game too. You know, millions and millions of people want this game too. And it's not just for them, it's for us too. And I really think that we should just take this game, take what we're given, because a lot of people ask for this, and just play it and enjoy it, and then continue on with Final Fantasy for the rest of the day. You know, honestly, that's it. Because like I said, they're gonna make money. They're gonna continue making Final Fantasy. You know, it's never ending. There will be ending point at some point. But like I said, when this game comes out, be a little bit more while until Final Fantasy is actually done. So Anyway, Kubos, this was a long freaking ass video to talk about, but just want to get that out there, you know. And also for people saying I'm milking kind of Final Fantasy news and everything, I'm just talking about Final Fantasy, guys. You know, I'm just talking about freaking Final Fantasy. That's it. You know, I talk about any Final Fantasy. You know, when Gamescom comes out and everything, obviously I'm going to talk about Final Fantasy 15 so freaking much. But basically, I just want to get this video out for you, Kubos, and everything. Let me know in the comments if you actually freaking watch this whole thing. You're freaking the bomb or whatever. But what do you think about this? What reasons? Why is Final 57 so important to you guys? Let me know in the comments below. And yeah, that's it. So anyway, Kubos, hope you enjoyed. I'm Final, and I'm out. Kubo, see ya.
Get hit with the motherfucking